With San Diego Comic-Con just around the corner, Hasbro just revealed a bunch of new Transformers on a live stream today, and it's got some pretty cool stuff with Legacy Wave 4, some Studio Series stuff, but we also got a peek at some of the figures that are going to be Walmart exclusives that Hasbro didn't talk about, in addition to a new comic book universe that I've mentioned previously. Of course, I got a lot to talk about, so sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch on my spring store today. If you're looking to spruce up some of your Transformers figures or get some weapons from the armory, or even get some of the awesome stages, you should check out toyhacks.com, who is sponsoring this video. There is currently a 15% off coupon that you could use in the description below, and you'll be able to get 15% off anything you purchase at toyhacks.com. So for those of you who have seen the RoboSen Optimus Prime figure that came out, it's a rather expensive figure for sure, and I know some people wanted some additional figures to go along with it, and so RoboSen is making a Bumblebee. I think they're also doing something with the Rise of the Beast Optimus, and I could be wrong, but I think they're doing something with Optimus Primal as well. But a G1 Bumblebee is definitely welcome with his awesome original look, with a proper looking helmet. You know, looking at this particular figure, I think actually looks really cool. It's just as expensive as any of the other RoboSen figures, but it does not transform. But it's really good if you want something to go along with your RoboSen Optimus. And he's got like some very posable hands, and they've done a lot of detailing on the car parts on him. Even if he doesn't transform, he's going for $400, but he's got Dan Gilvezan's voice to, actually voice him, which I think is a very fun experience for sure. And he stands great alongside Optimus. He's just much larger than even Legacy Menasor is, so it is something pretty cool. One of the things that was mentioned in today's live stream was the G1 art poster, in which a Rich Pellegrino actually did a G1 cartoon, a G1 toy art, and as well as this one cool one that has some like official Transformers logos on it, so if you wanted that as a print. And it has 15 out of the 18 original Autobots missing. Huffer, Gears, and Windcharger are the 3 Autobots missing from this poster if you're looking to get the original 18. But it is a very cool looking poster for sure. And the prints are being sold, I believe, through Hasbro Pulse, but also there is going to be a link with it within the Instagram page of the artist. Now, I talked about this previously with the new Transformers comic book that is coming out. If you had already picked it up, Void Rivals #1 is the first in this new Energon universe, with Skybound Entertainment being distributed by Image Comics, is going to be doing this brand new Transformers and G.I. Joe comic book universe. And this is going to be a back to the basics, jumping on point to anybody who wants to start picking up some old school Transformers stories, but told, obviously, I guess, in the modern day, so to speak, with this new universe. And to my understanding, the artists and writers involved are big-time Transformers fans and G.I. Joe fans, so they're jumping right in, trying to make it all work within the universe. And I read Void Rivals #1. It's kind of like Enemy Mine meets a random cameo from a specific Transformer, and from there, that's supposed to be the first of, I believe it's a 3-issue miniseries to my understanding, or at least that's what the solicitations seem to be. But they're going to be doing in the fall is a Transformers #1. That's going to be the first issue that kind of kicks it off with the Autobots fighting the Decepticons. And then you're going to have 2 issues, of a limited series of Duke and Cobra Commander. The way that they're doing it in this particular universe is that they're going to have G.I. Joe and Cobra are actually started because Cobra doesn't exist in the present day, and they find Energon and use it to power up a military-esque force, Cobra, and that is how they're going to do that within this universe. So it kind of sounds something cool, and G.I. Joe, of course, is going to be the military that is going to be fighting off against the but against Cobra and the Decepticons as well. So I think that's where they're going to go with it in particular. But it's looking kind of cool. Just based upon the first issue, it's just kind of like a tease that we're getting. And we'll see where they go with it. I'm hoping that the stories are good. I'm hoping that it's back to the basics, kind of like, gives us like a good amount of action and storytelling within the comics, because good God, that second continuity for IDW was a chore to read. It was a chore to read it. So I'm hoping that this new comic book really picks up the pace and gets things rolling in an awesome and new way. Now, these were not officially revealed, but the next wave of the Transformers Legacy Toxitron collection for Generation 2 is going to end up coming out, and are going to be Walmart exclusives. But we're now seeing some images they're official images, but they're not actually like officially revealed by Walmart, to my understanding. And if you already got the Generation 2 drag strip, think they called him Shadow Strip, and they are doing the G2 Stunticons. And here you have the G2 Dead End, which kind of looks cool. Personally, I like the original color scheme for him. They're doing a Generation 2 Mirage Toxic with like the purple and the green. But the first thing that comes to mind is watermelon. Actually, what's even more watermelon is kind of like this, Miami Vice kind of thing. Is this color scheme for Sideswipe? Kind of neat. Not necessarily something I'm going for. I mean, it's pretty much the way I'm looking at it with all of them, including this one here, the Laser Cycle character. I don't remember there being a character named Laser Cycle. I think they're just calling her that because it just works as another deco for all of the Transformers figures, because there was a second Laser Cycle, I believe his name was Road Pig, to go along with Road Rocket, and that would have been cool if they did that particular deco for a figure. But this also works too. Personally, what I'd like to see them do is the Transformers Legacy Animated Prowl in G1 colors, so that you can kind of like reenact the Turbo Cycle thing from the Action Master line. But, this still works too. And I'm sure some people will probably like these color schemes, but it's just not my thing. But now, as I said before, Hasbro had their Pulse live stream today, or their fan stream as they call it, and it had some pretty cool reveals this time around. If you've seen Transformers Rise of the Beast, you know that I gave it a fair review, and some people are, going out of their way to see the movie, and they're saying they either like it or hate it. I'm like somewhere in the middle. There were things that I really liked about the movie, and there are things that I really didn't care for in the movie, or think they could have done better. And some of it really feels that there was a lot of changes made from the 2022 cut to the version that we got for the finished film in the theaters. That being said, we already know that Mirage in particular was kind of like the mainstay character of the movie. And when we first saw the Studio Series figure for him, there was a different head sculpt that they were using because it was one of the early promotional artwork that they were making for the character. And now they've given us a proper head sculpt, but they also said that when this figure does get released officially, he will have the proper deco. They'll probably be painting his head blue, as it should be, in order to give us a proper look. Now, if you notice on his legs, there is a lot of detail that is missing from his legs, including like a red light there and certain like detailing in certain spots. But I think that those colors are going to end up getting filled in by, you probably guessed it, toy hacks, right? Because that's the thing, like a lot of these Transformers figures have been coming out and third-party people have been doing filler kits, and Toy Hacks has been doing their labels, and Non-F has been doing all their parts just to fill in all the gaps of these Transformers. And some people, it's making it a very expensive hobby. That being said, his car mode looks fantastic, in both modes there in full-on color, which kind of gets me thinking that the legs, which are supposed to be, I think, the tail lights of him in robot mode, are going to be separate parts, because I think that the way that the transformation works, this is not going to be like, fully done. Like the silver looks great, the blue looks great, and the tail lights look great, but it's like the robot mode is missing certain colors, and of course needs the painted hubcap. They also decided to do a leader class Optimus Primal, and it was great finally seeing Optimus Primal on the big screen, even if I wish that there were certain things done with both him and the rest of the Maximals in the movie The movie itself, like with the characters, was okay, but in action, he looked awesome. And he had the two swords, which kind of came together. They are giving this chain weapon here that apparently, from what Evan said, and is that the chain itself was supposed to have been incorporated into the movie, and Optimus Primal was supposed to use it. They're giving him the standard old faceplate that he had back in Beast Wars. Some of fans are like, oh, I wish he had the full-on faceplate over it. And I'm like, no, I kind of like this. The thing that bothers me about him is that he's been missing a lot of color. I think that he should have like red and white on his arms and red like on like certain joints in certain places, and his helmet should be blue. But that's not what he looked like in the movie, so it's kind of like a give and a take. Now, the chain itself, I've seen suggested that maybe you could use it with Battle Trap's ball and, the ball that he comes with, so he can have his ball and chain that he used in the movie, and that would make a lot of sense. And they also decided to give the axe that Optimus Prime used in the movie with Optimus Primal. So if you want to reenact a certain scene in the movie with Optimus Prime with his axe, you're going to need to get Optimus Primal in order to actually get the battle axe, because that's who the axe belongs to, but it does work with Optimus Primal. Now, moving on to Core Class with Transformers Legacy, they've decided to release Bumblebee and Optimus again in a special edition Core Class gift pack. It's designed to be a playset, and they've decided also to make a trailer for the Core Class Optimus. And even though this Bumblebee doesn't scale perfectly with this Optimus Prime, it does look kind of cool. In both modes, you can see like the axe that he comes with, and the blaster fits on the back of him, and the trailer itself folds up. And this is the same Bumblebee mold that came with that weird looking Spike figure. And the alt mode is pretty much Bumper, right? The Bumble Jumper or whatever. So I know a lot of fans who probably wanted to get this figure but didn't want that Spike figure. You got your second chance, especially if you missed out on the Core Class Optimus and you wanted him to have a trailer. Kind of cool. Very, very good as a gift set for younger Transformers fans, especially if you are an old school fan like myself who has kids who is watching G1 with you, because in my house, that's what we're doing. We're showing my kids Generation 1, and then I'll move on to Beast Wars, but we're going on with Generation 1, and so this would be actually a pretty cool gift set for any small ones that, you're trying to get into Transformers alongside you. The next Core Class figure that they showed was Legacy Snarl, and this is the last Dinobot to be released for the Volcanicus Combiner. Very, very cool, because when you look at him in Dino mode, it kind of looks a little bit better in Dino mode than the Leader Class one does, even if it's smaller. Personally, I like my Dinobots large, and I'm not a big fan of the combining gimmick. I personally would like to get Dino King, but I'm sure that that's what they're going to do here. Some fans are like, yeah, I'm all about these Legacy Dinobot combiners, and go for it, man. Like, this is kind of, your chance to be able to build your own little Dinobot combiner to put on your shelf. And, they actually showed it off during the live stream. Fully completed, as you can see, and he's all of the Dinobots there. And if you missed out on Sludge and Slag, I know they're calling it Slug, you are going to be able to still get those figures. They're going to be, re-released, I believe, in within the waves, so that everybody can complete their combiner. They realize that they need to do that with all of the Dinobots in order to be able to complete this. Now, that being said, I'm just going to say this, I'm going to put it out there. They need to re-release Studio Series 86 Grimlock and Slag for fans who missed out and can't seem to be able to get their hands on those particular two Leader Class Dinobots. But hey, you know what? It's kind of cool that they are doing this for fans who want to make their Dinobot combiner. And the next wave of deluxe class figures for Transformers Legacy is this one here, Shadow Striker. Now, what they've decided to do with this figure, and I believe that I had talked about this before, what Shadow Striker is, they are going with her origins. She and her sister Roulette were part of the Transformers Universe storyline, which was the BotCon exclusive figures that were released back then I think it was like 2002, 2003, somewhere around there, where they took 2001's, or they took Car Robot's Sideburn, or Speedbreaker, Sideburn. I'm going through a bunch of names here, right? But they remolded the Sideburn figure, and they gave that figure a female head, and they released it in two color schemes as Shadow Striker and Roulette. But in this particular case, they're going with the Transformers Cyberverse. So they're merging her origins with her Cyberverse color scheme and design with the helmet and everything. And I think it's a good mix, personally, because we're getting a character that was welcomed in Transformers Cyberverse. Even if you didn't care for the series itself, I think it's very cool that they are recognizing this particular character. Always having more Decepticons on the shelf is always a welcome thing too. I love the helmet design. You know something? I think we're going to see a lot of recolors out of this. We'll probably see Sideburn with the proper head. We'll probably see the original Shadow Striker color scheme and Roulette probably done maybe as Generation Selects. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. And, you know, maybe with a new name for the original Shadow Striker. And then they'll probably do the powered up version of Sideburn with the Hot Rod red colors. And that would be cool too. But they'll probably need to retool the car, because that front of the way that this car is designed is more in line with the Cyberverse car than it is with the original Dodge Viper that that Sideburn transformed into. And so they'll probably need to retool it a little bit. I doubt that they will, though, which would really suck, because that original color scheme looked great, and the way that they did this figure, I think, is awesome, personally. It should be no surprise that when Hasbro says they're going to finish teams, that when they say they're going to do the Insecticons, they've got Kickback, they've got Shrapnel, and now they're doing Bombshell. And Bombshell is a retool of Shrapnel, but his colors are a bit of a question here. And some of the tooling seems a little bit more in line with Shrapnel in particular, and I'll get into that when I get into the insect mode. But in robot mode, I think he looks awesome, definitely. The only thing that I don't care for, he's got like the gray on the biceps, which needs to be black, and the hands need to be black as well. And also the upper part of his thighs are supposed to be silver. So it's like the color schemes are a little off where they put it in robot mode, and it doesn't necessarily work for me there. However, the purple chest thing, I've seen some fans say they wanted the gray chest, and some fans say that they wanted the purple chest. I'm in the middle. I like the idea of a purple chest because when he's in insect mode, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what the original toy was in robot mode, and that's what they went with here. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a legacy, a Generation Selects Bombshell in the future with the cartoon colors, and that would be kind of cool if they did that. Because then this one would be more in line with the original G1 toy. So it's kind of like a mix of both. But when you get into the insect mode, you'll notice it's Shrapnel's back here. And that kind of sticks out for like a sore thumb for me, because the way that Bombshell was in insect mode, it sat down a little bit differently when he was insect mode. But I think he looks all right. I like the fact they did incorporate the rhino thing here. The only thing I've seen some images of is where the head sits. You probably need to turn it around 180 in order to hide his robot face when he's in insect mode. So we'll see how it turns out when more people get their hands on the figure. This one was a welcome addition because I think that as I know some people really liked Robots in Disguise 2015. But many fans I've seen hate on this series. And I'm kind of like in the middle with it. It was kind of one of those, like, it's there, And Strongarm was definitely a standout character, for sure. Her head sculpt here looks okay. I've seen fans say that they didn't care for it already. And she is a retool of Legacy Elita 1 and Minerva. If you guys saw my reviews for the figures here, my biggest complaint here with all three uses of this mold is the feet. I really want to see someone come out with a third-party feet that can like fold up and get out of the way and maybe give a little bit of height to these particular characters, because the feet, I've seen the third-party feet on them that are just bigger, but it doesn't really fill the gap in very well. And I think that if they they had like transforming feet would be a little bit better in particular. And because of the way that Strongarm's shoulders are in the series, they actually have the front of the vehicle sitting on her shoulders. That's fine, because I guess that they were just trying to make sure that they got the tooling done for her properly and tried to make her look as good as they could. And the vehicle mode works. I think she wears the vehicle mode a little bit better, actually a lot better than Minerva does. And in some ways, Alita 1 too. It's just those honking feet on the back. They've got to do something about those feet. And I'm really hoping that a third-party person could do something with that. This is one that I'm excited for and disappointed. Hear me out. I want this figure because I like the idea of a desert hound that is an evil or mercenary Junkion. Detritus is the character, and I've mispronounced it before in the past. I said Detritus or something like that. But the fact that they are doing this character is definitely welcome for sure. If you're trying to build out this whole storyline behind the Junkions, with Axel Grease and Junk Heap and everybody who's there, then you're going to want to definitely get your hands on Detritus here. And it looks like they even gave him a Hulk Hogan handlebar mustache on there. If you actually look close enough on it, I think that they said that that's what they wanted to do. They had to give him facial hair, but it's an Earth mode Hound figure. And there's been talk that Hound is supposed to be a buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive. There's been no reveal for it yet. We've seen an image for it. But now we get to see what the vehicle mode looks like. And yeah, it's of course, the figure is a retool of Siege Hound and looks good in Jeep mode, which looks great, by the way. And I like the engine there in the front. But now it's making me want Hound even more. Like, I really want the original Hound figure in addition to Detritus. To add to the collection. So it's definitely something worth it. Now, this is one I'm going to say, in a way, disappointed me. It didn't surprise me, all right? In the IDW comics, Bludgeon does not have a Pretender shell. He does transform into his tank mode. He was designed by Alex Milne. It's very similar in design to Tarn in the way the character is designed, but the original Bludgeon was a Pretender who had the skeleton samurai armor and then had a smaller green robot on the inside. And they're not doing it this time around. So that's what's disappointing me. But he does come with a samurai sword, and he has his blasters, and transforms into the same tank that Tarn does. So if you're okay with the Tarn mold being used for Bludgeon, then this is definitely something for you. For myself, I'm like, I really want a Bludgeon figure that does incorporate the Pretender shell. But still, the figure looks great with, I believe the mouth does open and close, and it's a Voyager scaled figure. It's a good looking IDW Bludgeon. So if that's what you're interested in, definitely go for it. Now this guy right here, Trashmaster is his name. I love this figure just looking at it. He just looks cool, has that like wicked, arm there with the claw, and has, all the Junkion bits all over him. And it's a really cool looking figure. I have to say, just looking at it, and it's just the same way that all the other Junkions have the parts that can come out on and off. You can take a limb off here, a limb off there. You're going to be able to do the same thing here with Trashmaster, and he transforms into, you guessed it, a garbage truck. And when I saw this figure during the live stream, the first thing that I thought of was, oh my gosh, this is animated Wreck-Gar done as a new character. How cool is that? The only thing I'm good for is garbage, right? Now, that was one of the funniest lines in Transformers, or funniest episodes of Transformers Animated, when they introduced that version of Wreck-Gar. Even though I'm a fan of the original G1 Wreck-Gar, I really appreciate an animated Wreck-Gar in that regard. So having a character that reminds me of him is a very welcome addition for sure. And I'm wondering if fans are going to incorporate the combining aspect and parts that can be taken off with these Junkions, and maybe they actually might turn it into a Junkion combiner. I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing fans do that with all the different parts. And now, rounding out Transformers Legacy, Transformers Prime fans are also getting some love with Dreadwing, and it is the brother of Skyquake, so it is the same mold, but they've added a little bit to his blaster, which is cool. And the deco look on him looks fantastic. I think it really works in this like darker blue. It's kind of like they made his color scheme similar to Dirge, when you really think about it, with the yellow and the blue. But at the same time, it's a really cool looking figure. Definitely. I mean, I haven't been able to get my hands on Skyquake yet, and I wanted to, because I think it was a really cool like throwback to both the European Generation 1 and Machine Wars and Transformers Prime, so they were trying to incorporate all of that into the design of this particular figure. And now that they're doing it in both Transformers Prime color schemes, you knew they had to do that. I'm sure a lot of Transformers Prime fans are going to be happy about this one. Now, I mentioned this before. I talked about the multi-packs. Some pretty cool gimmicks with the helmets that you can take them off with both the G2 Trooper and the Auto Trooper here. You know, you're going to be able to like mix and match the helmet a little bit. That is kind of cool. But, you know, I'm on the fence about it. And I'm also on the fence with the dying 2-pack of Prowl and Ironhide. Simply because, just like G1 Hound, I want a G1 Hound figure, and they're releasing Detritus, and I want a G1 Prowl figure that is got this particular color scheme and doesn't have the blast effect on him there. And here they're doing this, and I'm like, you know, it's kind of cool for those of you who want to recreate your childhood of seeing these characters getting blasted through the chest. But I myself am like, I'm on the fence about it. It is a cool thing for the reenactment of it all. Just like they did by releasing, you know, Alpha Trion and Orion packs and Dion and Ariel. Like, they're releasing all of these different characters. So with Transformers Legacy, it seems that they are trying their best to release as much as they can from so many different Transformers series. And so when I see things like this, I'm like, I like this, but I want this. I like this, but I want that. It's a mix and match. And so a lot of Transformers fans are, you know, just have to be patient and know that they're doing cool stuff like this in addition to, you know, releasing stuff that other fans want to. Which is kind of interesting, because one of the things that we knew was coming was that they actually recolored the Christmas Optimus Prime, or Holiday Prime, that they actually released it in Generation 1 colors. So if you wanted to get a modernized take on Generation 1 Optimus with the Christmas mold, or, you know, what have you, but done in G1 colors, then this is going to be the one to go for. And they went out of their way to get a licensed Volvo truck. I forgot the actual like name of it in particular. And the figure itself, from what I've heard from people who actually have gotten their hands on it, said it's a really good figure. You know, it's definitely for the fans who like this particular, you know, mold and the color scheme for G1 Optimus. Now, an additional thing that they've also done, and I was actually going to be doing an Inferno review in the near future for Legacy Inferno, because I finally got them and finally opened them. And the figure itself is great, but some fans were wondering, are they going to do the female version of that mold, which is Antagony? I think that's how you pronounce it, right? You know, all black with a purple helmet. Ant, that was a BotCon exclusive character, was a female ant and transforms into this really cool looking black and purple ant. This is going to be a Generation Selects exclusive. One of the things that I noticed even when I had opened up the chest on Inferno, on the inside, was it actually had similar molding to Scavenger. So when you looked at Scavenger from Transformers, the Transmetal figure that came out in the second year of Beast Wars, Scavenger was actually supposed to be Inferno. But what happened was that, number one, they didn't turn him into a Transmetal in the show. And two, Inferno was a shelf warmer, so they decided to release it as a different character. But what's interesting also was that they were originally supposed to release Inferno. That character was supposed to be Scavenger. So the Transmetal figure was Scavenger, but the first figure was Inferno. So there is molding for Scavenger there. But even more interesting is that they revealed that they are including an additional head with the Generation Selects figure for Scavenger. So if you want to swap out either Inferno or Antagony with a scavenger head, you're more than welcome to do so. And yeah, the molding is there to even turn the character into your own non-transmetal version of Scavenger, which is kind of cool, I guess. It's definitely different. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited about this stuff. Now, that being said, what they revealed today is just a taste of what they're going to be revealing. According to what they said, they have more reveals at San Diego Comic-Con. And so there's going to be another news video out later this week when all of those reveals come out and we get some official images and everything there. And when all of the pre-orders go live, I'm going to make sure that I get a news video out for you, because this has been a lot of Transformers news like all at once. And I'm sure some fans are like, my wallet can't take anymore. And some are like, my wallet is taking a break here on some of these Transformers figures. I get it. Things are expensive now. And so for some people, they feel like they're getting priced out of the lines. And so some of the repaints are welcomed and some are not. I think the comics are a pretty cool thing that brings fans to a new series of fiction that they can jump on. Like now they're actually able to like start fresh with something new. But also, there's movies, there's action figures, there's comic books, there's even a cartoon. Some people either like it or dislike it. That's perfectly fine. But I've got more stuff here coming too. I want to know what you guys think about all the reveals today. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I've got a new Transformers retrospective coming very soon. One, it's going to be kind of tied to Rise of the Beasts with a particular character, and then the second video after that, the next retrospective right after that, will be another character that is a mainstay from Transformers Rise of the Beast. And then I'm going to be doing some other stuff. And if you guys have seen my live streams, you probably know where I'm going with that. And I'm going to do a live stream soon enough too for my 100,000 subscribers special. So stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.